Have you ever read the Bible and felt like something crucial was missing? Like there are deep secrets hidden between the lines that no one ever dared to tell you? What if I told you that feeling is real? That there is an entire book, a part of divine revelation that was intentionally ripped from history, banned, hunted down, and hidden from you for over 2,000 years? This isn't just any book. It's a text considered so dangerous, so shocking, that the religious authorities of its time tried to erase its existence from the face of the earth. Today, we're going to tear back the veil of time and open the forbidden pages of the Book of Jubilees to reveal the truths they fought so hard to hide. Prepare yourself, because what you're about to hear could forever change your understanding of God, angels, and the universe itself. In this video, we will uncover the true and terrible reason behind the Great Flood, the secret history of the fallen angels and their giant offspring, the Nephilim, and why a perfect divine calendar, the solar calendar, was the cause of a spiritual war that threatened the very temple of Jerusalem. What you will learn here might shake the foundations of your faith, but only to rebuild it on a rock of much deeper and more solid knowledge. It is absolutely crucial that you watch this video until the very end. Each secret we are about to reveal from the heavenly tablets is a piece of a divine puzzle. To miss a single detail is to risk never seeing the complete picture. What's at stake isn't just curiosity, but an understanding of God's plan that very few people in the world are privileged to access. A plan involving the ongoing spiritual struggle against forces like Mastema. Before we dive deep, I need to ask you something. We've noticed that an incredible number of people who watch our videos and are blessed by them are not yet subscribed to the channel. If you love God and are seeking His truth, please take 1 second to hit that subscribe button right now. It's your guarantee that you won't miss any of the transformative revelations that are still to come. Now, let me know in the comments. Had you ever heard of the Book of Jubilees before today? I really want to know. Chapter 1. The book that history tried to erase, my friend. Let's embark on a journey into the shadows of history, into the very heart of a mystery that has puzzled believers for centuries. Have you ever been reading the story of the Great Flood in Genesis and felt a deep, nagging question in your spirit? What could humanity have possibly done that was so utterly terrible, so profoundly corrupt, that it warranted a near-total annihilation? The Bible tells us in Genesis 6 that the earth was filled with violence and that every imagination of the thoughts of man's heart was only evil continually. But gosh, it still feels like we're only getting the highlights, doesn't it? It's like watching a movie trailer instead of the full feature film. You can't help but feel that some crucial scenes were left on the cutting room floor, leaving us to wonder about the true depth of that ancient wickedness. Well, what if I told you that those missing scenes exist? What if I told you there's an ancient, profound, and, for a long time, forbidden text that holds the answers you've been seeking? It's a manuscript so controversial that for nearly 2 millennia, the powerful tried to wipe it from existence. This incredible work is known as the Book of Jubilees. It doesn't just supplement the story of Genesis, it provides a director's cut, revealing secrets that can fundamentally change how you perceive everything. This isn't just some historical footnote, it's a revelation that was intentionally buried, a testament to a truth so potent that it was deemed too dangerous for the faithful to know. Imagine holding a key that unlocks the door to a hidden room in a house you thought you knew completely. That's the power held within the pages of this lost scripture. This mysterious text, the Book of Jubilees, promises to pull back the curtain on the events that truly led to the flood. It speaks not just of human sin, but of a cosmic rebellion, of angels who forsook their heavenly abode, and the terrifying offspring they produced with human women, the monstrous giants known as the Nephilim. It explains that the cataclysm wasn't just a punishment, it was a desperate act of cosmic cleansing. The book details a battle against an ancient evil, a being of immense power, and it introduces concepts that were central to its authors but lost to us, like a divine solar calendar given directly from heaven. The existence of the Book of Jubilees isn't just a historical curiosity. It's a piece of a divine puzzle. It's a text that claims to be a direct dictation from an angel to Moses, a copy of the eternal heavenly tablets on which all of history is pre-written. Think about that for a moment. A book that contains the original script of creation and destiny. Why, then, would such a profound revelation be banned? What secrets did it hold that were so threatening to the established religious authorities of its time? The story of its suppression is as dramatic as the secrets it contains. It was hunted, burned, and declared heretical, a deliberate campaign to ensure its voice was silenced and its challenging truths about the nature of evil, the Nephilim, and God's divine timing were forgotten. As we continue, we will explore the very heart of this controversy. We'll dig into the reasons why this incredible book was cast out, why its teachings were seen as a direct threat to the temple itself. The central mystery we must now confront is not just what the Book of Jubilees says, but why its message was so feared. The answer lies in a conflict that shook the foundations of ancient Judaism, a battle over the very nature of time, worship, and authority. The secrets it held were not meant to be lost, and now they are coming back into the light, ready to challenge and deepen our understanding of the divine plan. The journey to uncover why it was banished begins now, and it's a story of power, rebellion, and a fight for the soul of a nation. Chapter 2. Context and Conflict. The calendar that threatened the temple. All right, my friend, now that you know about the existence of this hidden treasure, the Book of Jubilees, let's dig into the million-dollar question: why on earth was it banned? To truly get it, we need to hop in a time machine and travel back to a really turbulent period in Jewish history, the 2nd century BC. This was the era of the Maccabees, a time of rebellion, war, and intense debate about what it meant to be faithful to God. It was in this pressure cooker of religious and political conflict that the Book of Jubilees became a lightning rod. The reason for its prohibition, believe it or not, boils down to something that sounds almost trivial to us today: a calendar. But this wasn't just any calendar. It was the divine solar calendar, a system of 364 days that the book's authors claimed was the only one sanctioned by God himself. You see, the beauty of this solar calendar was its perfect divine consistency. With 364 days, you get exactly 52 weeks. This is a huge deal because it means the great festivals, Passover, Pentecost, the Day of Atonement, would fall on the exact same day of the week every single year. For the community that revered the Book of Jubilees, this wasn't just a neat mathematical trick. It was sacred architecture. It was the divine rhythm of worship, a blueprint laid out on the heavenly tablets before humanity was even created. Following this calendar was an act of supreme obedience, aligning oneself with the cosmos and with God's perfect order. It was a way to ensure that you were always in sync with heaven's appointed times, a protection against the kind of spiritual chaos that had once allowed the monstrous Nephilim to roam the earth. Here's where the sparks begin to fly. The religious authorities in Jerusalem, the priests of the great temple, used a different system altogether. They relied on a lunar calendar, which is shorter than the solar year and constantly needs to be adjusted. This meant their festival dates would drift, landing on different days of the week from one year to the next. For the followers of the Jubilees tradition, this was more than just a disagreement. It was a spiritual catastrophe. In their eyes, the temple was leading the entire nation astray, causing them to miss God's sacred appointments. They believed this confusion was a subtle form of deception, a crack in the spiritual armor of Israel that could be exploited by forces of darkness, like the chief of spirits, Mastema, who constantly seeks to lead humanity into error. So, when the Book of Jubilees came along and boldly declared that the temple's calendar was wrong and that the true heavenly. Solar calendar was the only way. It wasn't just a suggestion, it was a direct, frontal assault on the temple's authority. It was essentially saying that the most powerful religious leaders in the land were getting their most important job wrong. You can imagine that didn't go over well. This book was a threat to their legitimacy and control. Consequently, it was branded as heresy. A campaign was launched to suppress it, to hunt down every copy and destroy it, to ensure its dangerous ideas about time, angelic secrets, and divine law were wiped from memory. They tried to bury the truth, but as we are about to see, some truths simply refused to stay buried. The incredible story of how this book survived against all odds is a testament to its power, taking us from desert caves to the heart of Africa. Chapter 3. The Discovery, from the Dead Sea Scrolls to Ethiopia. So, as we saw, the powers that be declared the Book of Jubilees a dangerous and heretical text. It was hunted, burned, and for all intents and purposes, erased from the memory of the Western world. It seemed that the conflict over the solar calendar had ended with the book's total defeat. For nearly 2,000 years, it was a ghost, a lost chapter of biblical history. But this is where the story takes a turn that could only have been orchestrated by a divine hand, my friend. It shows us that no matter how hard man tries to bury a sacred truth, God has a way of preserving it, tucking it away in the most unlikely of places until the world is ready to hear it again. The survival of this book is nothing short of a flat-out miracle, a testament to a plan far greater than those who tried to silence it. Let's fast forward to the middle of the 20th century. A young shepherd, chasing a stray goat, tosses a rock into a cave in the desolate cliffs of Qumran by the Dead Sea. Instead of a thud, hears the shattering of pottery. What he discovered inside would send shockwaves through the entire world of theology and history, the Dead Sea Scrolls. In those caves, a hidden library was unearthed, preserved for millennia. And get this, among those ancient fragile scrolls were at least 12 separate copies of the Book of Jubilees in its original Hebrew. This was earth-shattering proof. It validated that the book was not some later forgery, but an authentic and ancient work, cherished by a devout Jewish community that existed around the time of Jesus. This community was likely at odds with the Jerusalem establishment, precisely over issues like the true solar calendar, which they saw as key to avoiding the cosmic corruption that once spawned the Nephilim. But these were just fragments, pieces of the puzzle. The full, complete story of its survival is even more astounding, and it unfolds in a place far from the Holy Land, in the ancient Christian kingdom of Ethiopia. While Jewish rabbis and early Christian councils were excluding the Book of Jubilees from their canons, the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church did the exact opposite. They looked at this book with its stunning revelations about the fall of the Watchers, the ongoing spiritual war against the forces of Mastema, and the laws dictated from the heavenly tablets, and they didn't see heresy. They saw sacred truth. They revered it so deeply that they included it in their official biblical canon, where it remains to this day, nestled right alongside the books we all know. For century after century, while the book was forgotten or forbidden elsewhere, Ethiopian scribes were painstakingly copying it by hand, preserving its complete text in their ancient Ge'ez language. They protected it, studied it, and passed it down through generations, safeguarding the very secrets the rest of the world had tried to extinguish. Think about the sheer providence of it all. A book hunted to the point of extinction in its homeland finds a safe harbor and a place of honor thousands of miles away, waiting patiently for the moment of its rediscovery. The book survived because it was meant to. Now that we know how it was saved from the ashes of history, it's time we finally turn the page and look at the incredible claim it makes about its own origin, a claim that places it above any human author. Chapter 4. The Divine Revelation, Heavenly Tablets and the Angel of the Presence. Now, my friend, we've followed the dramatic journey of the Book of Jubilees from suppression to survival. We know how it reached us. But before we unlock the 10 explosive secrets it holds, we need to understand the incredible source from which it claims to draw its authority. And let me tell you, this is a game changer. This book doesn't present itself as the work of a wise sage or a pious scribe reflecting on the scriptures. No, its claim is infinitely bolder. The Book of Jubilees presents itself as a direct, unmediated revelation from heaven, and understanding this premise is the key to grasping its profound power and significance. It positions itself not as a commentary on Genesis, but as the prequel, sequel, and director's cut all rolled into one. Let's go back to that iconic scene we all know from the Book of Exodus. Moses ascends the cloud-covered peak of Mount Sinai to speak with God for 40 days and nights. We typically imagine him receiving the 10 Commandments on 2 stone tablets, but according to the Book of Jubilees, that's only a tiny fraction of what occurred. The book claims that during this time, God commanded one of his most exalted angels, the Angel of the Presence, to sit with Moses and dictate the entire history and future of the world. This wasn't a summary. It was a detailed recounting of everything, from the first day of creation right up to the final judgment. Moses wasn't just getting laws, he was receiving a private screening of God's entire cosmic plan. So, where did this angel get this all-encompassing knowledge? He was reading from a divine source document, the ultimate record of reality, the heavenly tablets. This is one of the most crucial concepts in the entire book. These tablets are an eternal, celestial record upon which God had inscribed the fate of the universe before a single thing was ever made. Every major event, every law, the structure of time itself, according to the perfect solar calendar, the rebellion of the Watcher Angels, the horrific genesis of the Nephilim, the ongoing spiritual war against the Prince of Darkness, Mastema, and the destiny of every nation was already written down. The stone tablets Moses received were, in essence, just a single page copied from this immense divine library. In other words, the Book of Jubilees is asserting that it is a direct transcript of this heavenly blueprint. It's not a human author's interpretation of events. It's a divine dictation of what was, is, and will be. This is why the book speaks with such unwavering authority and confidence. It believes it is communicating a truth that is absolute and unchangeable because it was settled in heaven before the foundations of the world were laid. This context is everything. When we read it, we aren't just reading an ancient story. We are, in theory, looking over Moses' shoulder as the angel of the presence reveals the very script of creation. Now that you understand the divine authority it claims, it's time to finally pull back the curtain and look at the secrets themselves. Chapter 5, The 10 Secrets Revealed. My friend, we have arrived. We know the history of the Book of Jubilees, how it survived, and the divine authority it claims from the heavenly tablets. Now it's time to unlock the vault. We will walk through the 10 most profound and world-altering revelations this incredible book has to offer. Each one is a puzzle piece that, when put together, creates a picture of God's plan that is far more intricate and dramatic than you ever imagined. Let's begin this sacred journey into the heart of its secrets. Secret 1. The Cosmic Origin. Let's dive into our first secret, a truth that completely reframes the beginning. We read Genesis 1:1 as the absolute start, but the Book of Jubilees reveals that key aspects of creation existed before that. The holy angels, all of God's divine laws, and even the sanctity of the Sabbath were already established and eternally recorded on the heavenly tablets. And that serpent in the Garden of Eden. The book leaves no room for doubt. It was explicitly Satan, turning the fall of man into the opening battle of a cosmic war that rages to this day. Secret 2. Watchers, Nephilim, and the origin of evil. The second secret provides the chilling backstory to the Great Flood. The Book of Jubilees states that the ultimate corruption began not on earth, but in heaven. a group of rebellious angels called the Watchers forsook their heavenly posts to take human wives. Their unnatural union produced monstrous offspring, the giants, known as the Nephilim, whose insatiable violence, greed, and depravity infected the entire planet. After the flood destroyed their physical forms, their disembodied spirits became the demons that plague humanity, led by their chief, Mastema, who negotiated with God to allow a tenth of them to remain to test and accuse mankind. Secret 3. Noah, the first legislator. We often think of Moses as the primary lawgiver, but the third secret from the Book of Jubilees reveals that Noah was the first. Long before the covenant at Sinai, Noah and his sons were instructed in God's laws. They were taught about celebrating the Sabbath, the proper seasonal festivals, and the laws against eating blood. Even the division of the entire earth among his 3 sons wasn't a random decision. It was a predestined event, divinely ordained and carried out precisely as it was written on the eternal heavenly tablets. Secret 4. The Exodus as a spiritual war. The fourth secret reframes the Exodus from a historical event into an epic spiritual battle. The 10 plagues were not just random calamities, they were direct, surgical strikes against the gods of Egypt, proving the absolute sovereignty of the God of Israel. The Book of Jubilees adds a critical layer to this, identifying the dark entity Mastema as an active antagonist. It was he who helped harden Pharaoh's heart and who actively tried to thwart the Israelites' liberation, turning the entire ordeal into a direct confrontation between God and the Prince of Darkness. Secret 5. The secret knowledge of the patriarchs. This fifth secret reveals that the patriarchs were far more than simple nomads. They were initiates into heavenly wisdom. Abraham, for example, wasn't just acting on faith alone. He was actively taught by angels about divine laws, the proper methods for sacrifices, and the celebration of festivals that aligned with the perfect solar calendar. The book even states that he was taught Hebrew, the original language of creation, and that the covenant of circumcision is an eternal law, one that is practiced even by the angels in heaven. Secret 6. The celestial record of sin. Secret number 6 is both a sobering warning and a message of incredible hope. The Book of Jubilees teaches that the heavenly tablets act as a perfect, real-time ledger of every human action. Every sin, every transgression is meticulously recorded as a spiritual debt against your name. The betrayal of Joseph by his brothers, for instance, was inscribed the very moment it occurred. But here is the beautiful part. The tablets also record every act of genuine repentance, which serves as the divine payment that can wipe the slate clean. Secret 7. The cosmic impact of the first murder. The seventh secret reveals that sin has consequences that ripple through the fabric of creation. Cain's murder of Abel wasn't just a personal tragedy, it was a violation of an eternal law that fundamentally corrupted the earth itself. According to the Book of Jubilees, this single act of bloodshed defiled the ground, making it less fertile and fracturing the harmony between humanity and creation. This helps us understand on a deeper level the profound planetary damage later caused by the widespread violence of the Nephilim. Secret 8. The Divine Reset. The Cycles of the Jubilee. Secret number 8 explains God's incredible master plan for social justice, from which the Book of Jubilees gets its very name. The system of 7 cycles of 7 years, culminating in the 50th Jubilee year, was a divine reset button for the nation. In this year, all debts were to be forgiven, all Hebrew slaves were to be set free, and all land was to be returned to its original family owners. It was a powerful, practical reminder that humans are merely stewards of God's creation. Secret 9. The perfect 364-day calendar. We arrive at the 9th secret. The very idea so controversial, it got the book banned. The perfect solar calendar. The Book of Jubilees lays out its divine mathematics with precision, 364 days, which form 4 seasons of 13 weeks each, totaling exactly 52 weeks per year. This flawless structure ensures that holy festivals, God's appointed times, always fall on the same day of the week. The book issues a severe warning. To follow any other calendar is to deliberately fall out of sync with heaven, risking divine rejection. Secret 10. The Apocalyptic Prophecy of Moses. Our final secret is the breathtaking, all-encompassing prophecy given to Moses on Sinai. The angel of the presence, reading directly from the heavenly tablets, unveiled the entire future of Israel. He revealed their coming apostasy, the painful punishments of exile, and the destruction of the temple, and a future period of immense global tribulation. But the prophecy doesn't end there. It culminates in a final glorious redemption where God will heal his people, bind Mastema, and create a new heaven and a new earth, restoring all of creation to its intended perfection. Chapter 6. Conclusion. A predestined universe and its implications. So here we are, my friend, at the end of our journey through the pages of this remarkable and forbidden text. We've walked through the shadows of history to bring the secrets of the Book of Jubilees into the light. From its challenge to the temple's authority with its perfect solar calendar, to its chilling accounts of the angelic watchers and the rise of their monstrous offspring, the Nephilim, this book paints a picture of a universe humming with spiritual significance in every moment. It gives context to the ongoing spiritual war against forces like Mastema, and reveals a depth to our history that is both terrifying and awe-inspiring, leaving us with a profoundly altered perspective. When you take a step back and look at all 10 secrets together, one powerful, overarching theme comes into sharp focus, tying everything together. The universe is a meticulously predestined place. For the authors who received this revelation, history is not a chaotic, random series of events and human choices. Instead, it is the slow and deliberate unfolding of a divine script, one that was written in its entirety upon the heavenly tablets before the first ray of light ever shone. Every law, every covenant, every hero's rise, and every nation's fall is simply a scene in a grand play whose beginning and end were authored by God himself. This worldview fundamentally changes how we see our reality. The struggles of humanity are not just our own, but are part of this cosmic drama, a battle where our choices have eternal weight, yet the final outcome has never been in doubt. Even the most cunning schemes of the great adversary are but a permitted subplot within God's sovereign narrative. He is a villain who plays his part fiercely, but he can never, ever change the story's triumphant ending. The Book of Jubilees assures us that the ultimate destiny is one of redemption, healing, and the restoration of all things in a new heaven and a new earth. This powerful and challenging perspective doesn't just seek to inform us, it invites us to wonder. It leaves us with profound questions to carry in our spirits. If the script is already written on the heavenly tablets, what then is the true nature of our free will? How does this vision of a predestined plan change the way we read the familiar stories of Genesis and Exodus? The book doesn't just give us secrets, it calls us into a deeper, more mysterious, and ultimately more reverent relationship with the unshakable sovereignty of God, asking us to trust the author, even when we don't understand the script. And there you have it. The forbidden secrets of the Book of Jubilees show us a universe guided by a divine, pre-written plan, far more ancient and spiritually charged than many of us ever imagined. The stories of the Nephilim, the cosmic war against Mastema, and the battle over the true solar calendar change everything. So now, I have to leave you with a provocative question. How does knowing about the heavenly tablets affect your view on free will and destiny? I truly want to know what you think. Share your biggest takeaway from this video in the comments below. Which secret shocked you the most? Your experience and opinion are incredibly valuable to this community. And finally, if this video has opened your mind and you feel a hunger to explore more of the Bible's hidden truths, please do. One crucial thing, subscribe to this channel and click the notification bell. That is the only way to guarantee you won't miss the transformative content we have coming. Don't go anywhere. Another video we've selected just for you should be appearing on your screen right now. Click on it to continue this sacred journey. We'll see you there.